Hello and welcome to Video Revealed. I'm Colin Smith. I'm wearing my colorful shirt because this is a huge color update in Adobe Premiere Pro. If you've had trouble with iPhone footage, it's all fixed now, baby. All right, so if you want the quick tutorial, it just works. So update to the latest version of Premiere Pro, import your iPhone footage that's high dynamic range, drop it into a regular Rec 709 timeline, and it's done. But if you want more information, a comparison of what was happening, what is happening, and some tips on how to work with just regular log footage and footage that doesn't interpret properly, keep watching. So, the issue is on, and not just on iPhones, but many cameras today will shoot higher than 100% white. And you might be asking, well, what's higher than 100%? Well, how about 10,000%? The format for HDR goes all the way up to 10,000. And those are called overbrights or super blacks at the bottom. And when you stick them in a timeline in the previous version of Premiere Pro tried to crunch that stuff down to fit in, and the results did not look good. So Adobe interprets now iPhone footage automatically. You can turn it off if you don't like it, but I'm sure you're going to like it. Same with log footage. I'm going to show you the setting with log footage turned off, and I'll show you some examples of some stuff that is log, but it's not being recognized because it was stock footage from Artgrid downloaded as MP4. To show you this properly, I'm going to do a couple of things. First of all, I'm going to divide the screen into two different sequences so we can see the old and the new result. And I'm going to call up the Lumetri scopes for luminosity. So this is going to show me the dynamic range of how much is in a clip, because you can't trust your eyes, especially if you're on an 8-bit display, as most people are. You're never going to see all of that delicious information. Now, Premiere Pro can output HDR, fantastic, no problem. It can do that, but we're talking about within a Rec 709 timeline. What the heck is that? That's the timeline we've been all using forever, and it's an HD format. This is what broadcast is based on. So let me show you my workspace. I created one just for this tutorial called tone mapping, so I could have a sequence in the left side, a sequence in the right side, my Lumetri scopes down here, timeline, and media. And what I have in the top left is not a clip, it's a whole sequence. And I've called it Rec 709 Tone Mapping Off. And this particular one is Rec 709. If you go to the sequence settings in the sequence menu, this is new, Auto Tone Map Media, and it's set to Rec 709. You could change it or you could turn this right off. This is all turned on by default. So when you make a new sequence, this is going to be turned on by default. That means you just drop in your iPhone footage and now everything just works. I'll show you this. This is iPhone footage. Then there's the log setting, which is in the preferences, which I'll turn on when we get to log footage. All right, so I've got a keyboard shortcut to jump between the source monitor and the program monitor, so I can jump back and forth. And what that will give you is a look at the scopes. So in this luminosity scope, I'm going from 100 to 0 because I'm pushing this within the Rec 709 space. If I turn clamping off and go to HDR, you're going to see it jump up and be huge. See, all the way to 10,000 on that side. But we don't want that. We want to show what's inside Rec 709. So I'll go back to 8-bit and clamp that signal. So let's look at the new setting. Just look at the picture alone. Look at the clouds. Dear Lord, what a difference. Beautiful. Over here, it's all blown out. And look what happens to the waveform. From there to there. Anytime you see the waveform brighter with more information, that means there's more information in the file. And the reason why people shoot with more information is you can do more with it. So you can shoot in a bright, sunny scene and pull the brights down so it's not blown out. Or you could push things up into it if you wanted a tense, bright kind of a scene. All right, let's jump to the next clip I've got. Okay, same thing. Look at that sky. Unbelievably blown out over here. And here we've got nice sky. Let's go look at the scopes. You can see it's pushed down nicely, and here it's just cut off. So in the old way, it didn't push it down, it just sliced it off and just clamped it down. What tone mapping does is it takes into account the relationship of all of the pixels, all of the latitude, so that when it's bringing down, it's doing it in such a way that it's this result where you can see the clouds. Let's keep going. Another result here. And what I think is interesting about this one is, although this light might look more bright and correct over here, it's blown out. I could color grade this to make this brighter, but if this is already gone, then color grading it is just going to make the stuff that's blown out more blown out. But if it's almost there, but it's still inside there, let's look at the scopes. So look at that. You can see here, it's completely blown out. That's where that is. And here we've got tons of information to play with. Okay, next one. And I think these are a great example because it's hard to see the difference. You can see a little bit lost in here, but look at the scope. Bad, good. You're going to have trouble grading that. You're going to have no problem grading all of that. All right, next one. Same kind of idea. Look at the scopes. From that, faded, clipped at the top, beautiful, tons of information. Another one here, I want to show you what happens to very fine edges. All right, look here, you can see more information. So let's jump over to the right side. You can see all of the little pieces in here. If we go to our source monitor, it's gone. It looks like a hoop around the outside with nothing in the middle. Even these are having trouble. So again, some of this stuff is easier to see. Some of it is only the scopes will show you. Here's another example. This is without tone mapping, with tone mapping. Where is all of that information coming from? It's all here. Look at all of, in fact, the sky too is a little bit bluer, but look at all of this information and look at how posterized it is. Posterization occurs when there's fewer colors to represent a wider range. And this happens all the time with gradients. So if you're like me and you're too cheap to pay for HDR on Netflix, you're watching Netflix and you see a sky and you see all this chunkiness. Blah. Then you go to something like Disney HDR 10 and everything looks unbelievably gorgeous. Netflix, I'm not going to pay extra for that. Okay, keep going. Now this one is an example of something that I need to convert. Let's go to where that bright section shows up, just when we get a flare right at the camera. Okay. So both of these are the same. And the reason is, even though this is log footage, Premiere Pro doesn't know it because I don't have the original file. I have an uploaded file that doesn't have that information. But if I find this clip over here, right click, go to modify, interpret footage, and I've set up a keyboard shortcut for this. So I'll do this a few times. I just want to show you where it is. The rest of the time, it's just going to pop up. Look down here at the bottom. It's using the color space that's in the file because there isn't one recognized. So Rec 709 is a good idea just to throw that on. But I can click in here and choose some of these other choices, like 2100 HLG. This is the iPhone footage format, and the Canon, Panasonic, Sony. But I'm going to choose this one. Click OK, and you'll notice both of them change. Let me just see if I can get a different one. Let me go PQ. Boom. Okay. So even though this one without tone mapping looks better, it's still blowing out. Look, it's blowing out here. Of course it has to, because it's a bright welding light, but I still get more information. Same thing here. Let's go to this next one. And with this one, we've got bright sunlight coming in here. Same thing. I'll interpret the footage. And for this one, let's try the same thing. Let's go PQ. Boom. Whoa, that's too much. Let's try HLG. Okay, this looks good. Let's look at our scopes. Completely blown out and cut off. That's what we're seeing here. And here it's preserved. It is losing it a little bit in there, but it's still good. And I'm just guessing at the proper setting here. It's always best for you to know, what is the media? Where did it came from? Where did it come from? And what camera did it come from? And what settings you should use? All right, let's keep going. Next one. I wanted to show, again, the bright sunlight coming in behind her. So let's go look at the original clip. And you can't do this in the timeline. You have to do this in the project panel. So select it, interpret footage. Let's go to... There. Let's go back and forth between the two. So probably not the right one, because she still seems washed out. That's probably more like it. And you can see that's cut off. Good. Okay. Now let's get to these log files. So we've got three. We've got Panasonic, Sony, and Canon. And they look very washed out. This is the kind of thing you want to see when you have the footage, but it's not necessarily the thing you want to see when you're trying to present it to someone. This to me says, great, we got log footage, I got a ton of information, but I better not show that to people like this, because they'll get the wrong idea. So let's go back. Let's go to the first one. And this time we're going to go in the Edit menu on Windows, the Premiere Pro menu on Mac, Preferences, General. And you can turn this on after you've imported footage. So you can actually turn this on in the new version of Premiere Pro with old projects that already have log footage in it. And it's here, Auto Detect Log Video Color Space. Now watch the scope and watch the footage. Boom. Doesn't get any easier than that, baby. And these are the raw camera files. That's why Premiere Pro is working with these, like the iPhone footage. If it's an intermediate format that doesn't have that color tag data in it, then you have to go and interpret the footage. So that's the Panasonic one. But even with that, even with the proper footage, look at the scope. Without tone mapping, it's still blowing out. And it's, let me go to the next one. Not as bad, because this is not a very high key image. This one does have the window in the back. Look, boom, 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 boom. What a difference. So there you go. If you just have iPhone footage and you want it to be treated correctly, then drop it in to a Rec 709 timeline with tone mapping on it. And it's going to work perfect, as I showed here right now. So something a lot of people have been having trouble with, and Adobe has taken care of it. Also log footage from the cameras where the color information is tagged and interpreted correctly to that footage. And of course, Adobe's going to be adding more formats and lots of stuff like that. So this is a huge, huge color update, and it's going to solve a lot of problems. There was a lot of people tearing their hair out. Hey, if you're new to Video Revealed and you found this informative, take a moment and subscribe. You want to support us some more, you can do that on VideoRevealed.com/shop. You can donate once monthly. We love all of our wonderful, amazing, very generous donors. Thank you very much. There's lots of free stuff to download there, and you become a member, and there's even more to download. Till next time, I'm Colin Smith, and it's my job. Oh yeah, and by the way, thanks to my buddy Dave Helmley at Adobe for supplying these last 3 camera files this morning before my tutorial. Thanks a lot, Dave. Till next time, I'm Colin Smith, and it's my job to have a look at some of the big updates for Premiere Pro and turn them into very useful tutorials for you.